Hello, inspiring educators. Adele Bates here, behaviour and education specialist, keynote speaker, and author of Myths I Don't Give a Shit, engaging with challenging behaviour in schools. In the vlog today, I want to share with you the day that I learned the most about behaviour in schools. It was during my PGCE. And before that, I have to say, I'd been teaching for 14 years, peripatetically in different situations, in PRUs, in APs. I'd run a performing arts department in a primary school for 6 years. So I'd always taught, I'd always been teaching. And I got to that stage where I had to get the PGC under my belt for the logistics and for the wage and for the, and for the being able to progress. You know what it's like. So I kind of felt at this point, I know that I'm able to very easily hold a mainstream classroom. Behaviour is not usually an issue for me. I hadn't really thought about it too much at this point. But this day taught me so much about behaviour. I had a professional tutor, and Nancy, her name is, she's fabulous, and she had beautiful red lipstick every day. I don't know how you do that as a teacher, but anyway. And she invited us to shadow a young person who is known for their behaviour around the school. We only did one day and I was absolutely exhausted. So the young person didn't know that we were following them because that'd probably freak them out. We were just told that we were following the class, but really we were looking at specific pupils who had things like the most behaviour points, who perhaps had EHCPs, education healthcare plans, who perhaps were pupil premium, EAL, different categories. And the thing that I noticed when I shadowed this boy, I think he was a year 8, year 9, something like that, was that throughout the entire day, not one member of staff said anything positive to him. It wasn't all negative. Most of it was kind of neutral. Grab your bags. Have you got a pen? I'm not saying everyone was horrible to him, but not one adult in the school during the day that I shadowed him said anything positive to him at all. And arguably, that might not be our top priority. However, what I noticed was, as he went through the day, as he got more tired, as I got more tired, as he got more tired throughout the day, that lack of positivity started affecting his behaviour. And we know this for ourselves, right? When I have an argument with my partner in the morning, guess what? When I go to schools, it's a little bit harder. When the bus driver doesn't stop for me, then I have to rush about, then it's a harder day for me, right? We know this for ourselves. We know that if we are surrounded by only negativity or just kind of neutral, then we have to work harder for us to be linking with other people, for us to be able to do our work more efficiently, to be able to learn more effectively. We know this in ourselves. And so why would it be any different for a young person? And actually, I would say it's even harder for the young person because they're still learning, because they're young, because they're children, even the teenagers. So what I noticed with this young person is that a lot of the statements might have been neutral and just the odd negative ones. There was also what I saw a lot of negative bias playing in, as in they knew that that young person was the person who was likely to cause the trouble. And so some of the teachers would welcome him in a different way, I noticed, than they would welcome other children into the space. And over the day, what I saw was that this accumulated negativity meant that his behaviour started getting more fed up. He started getting more annoyed. When he was doing positive things, when he was on task, when he was following instructions, it was not noted. And yet when he wasn't following instructions, when he wasn't on task, that was made a scene of. So guess which one he started to lean towards. So by the end of the day, we have an annoyed, frustrated young man who is not being recognised for the good bits that he is doing. And so why bother? Why bother? And then by the end of the day, I started to see, particularly after lunch, of course, the wonderful spot after lunch, I started to see behaviours come up, teachers were having to tell him off more, and the negativity increased. What we appreciate. I talk about this in the book. If you haven't pre-ordered it, grab it now. Miss, I don't give a shit. What we look for and what we observe is the thing that increases. And I'm not in any way blaming any of his teachers right now, because I also saw a 6-period back-to-back day with a timetable that was just bonkers, and no human teacher would be able to stay positive throughout the whole time. I know I definitely wouldn't. I am not blaming, individual teachers in that way at all. But what I'm saying is, if we want to foster positive behaviour in our young people, we have to look for it. We have to find it. We have to show them, mirror back to them, recognise in them, we know you're capable of this. So just on a very, very small example, let's say nearly everybody else in the classroom has written the title, written the date, and is on the first task. And this person, for example, the boy I was shadowing, he's managed to get his book out. There are 2 ways in that moment that we could work. We could say, why haven't you got this? Everybody else has done it. You should have done it by now. Giving him the message, you're behind. You're not as good as everyone else. I don't believe you can do this. Or we can say, great, you've got your book out. You know what's next. Here's a pen. Which enables him to get to the learning. It's scaffolding. It's differentiation. It's scaffolding him up in his behaviour needs to help him with his learning needs. And what I did after the day that I'd done shadowing this, I did an experiment for a week. It was really hard. But when I was actually teaching in the PGCE sessions that I was doing, I decided that I would try to only use positive language to deal with any low-level disruptive behaviour. And it was hard. No, don't do that. Comes out so much more easily than, I can see you doing that, here's the next step. You've done question 1, let's look at the vocab on question 2. Is so much harder to remember to do than, why are you only on question 1? But you can see the difference between one is, look how awful you are, look how you failed, and the other one is, okay, you're here, let me help you to the next step to your learning potential. I'd love to know what this brings up for you, whether you've noticed similar things yourselves, and any experiments you do in looking at that language and looking at the way that we create a positive environment for our young people. Thank you.